Right, well, welcome, and finally we're going to actually put another cover on this, and that's because it's ripped and the plastic started to fall out. Now, first off, I did a really bad job of putting this up. All right, for me it was only going to be a temporary structure, but you know what it's like. Once you've got a space, it's hard to give it up. So if you want to see a much better video on how to put one of these up really well, may I recommend going and checking out Ian and Emma's channel, which is Our Allotment Journey, and I'll put a link to their video of how they put theirs up. The main thing being they put it on a solid wooden base, and the model they had has got a door already put in it. Now, the main reason I'm doing this video is if you've got one of these tunnels with the zip up door, you may be thinking of adding a door. All right, this is what I did to mine, and I also put a vented door frame at the far end. And what I'm going to do is reverse engineer this, because I've got to take some of it off in order to put the cover on, and then hopefully it'll make more sense of what I did. And if you would like to put a door in yours, because it means you've got more height to get in, and it helps the rigidity of the structure as well. I know Paul Hertz was saying about how to put a door in, so I hope by re-engineering this you'll see exactly how I did it, and that may help. All right, now this tunnel has been battered. I've got to be honest, I'm in a very open spot here, so the door's frame is gone out of square because it's moved. I'm not too worried about that, because there again, this is only going to be another temporary structure so I can store things in it until I can build my shed, which I'm hoping to do over the winter, and that'll be up and coming videos, and I'll try and do a much better job of building my shed than I did of putting this up. Because in my head it was only going to be a temporary structure, I didn't trench it in. What I did, and I think the camera can pick it up, I just banked sand up around it to hold the sheet in, which worked really well. And I've just been around now, pulled the sand back away from the sheet that was, lying on the ground, and once we get the new sheet on, I can pull it as tight as I can. There we go. Again, go and check out Ian and Emma's channel, because they do it way better. All right. And we'll put it all back together. It'll be fine. It'll last me hopefully through the winter, and I can put things back in here, and off we go again till I've built my shed. Right, let's get on with it. Okay, so the first thing I like to do if I'm doing a job like this is get myself off the ground. I've got one of these collapsible tables which I use all the time for different things, and I just find it really useful because you can get all your tools and trays and bits and pieces off the ground, and just makes it a little bit easier. Most of the fixings I use for doing this job, sorry, let me rain mine out, Pete, are these heavy duty timber fixings. And why I like using these, especially if you think you may be taking something apart again, is because it comes with a nut type head and its own driver that fits into your impact, so it's a lot easier to get them out if you think you're going to need to get them out. All right, if you're not, I would recommend some decent screws, some Riesling or something like that, a decent screw, so chances are you will be able to get them out again. I just got a few trays to put the screws in. We'll be reusing what I take out, and of course just the impact for putting things in and out. Right, let's get to the far end. Right, so we're at the far end, and I'll start with this end because this is the easiest one to do. And this one, I put a vent in so that any air that got in there, should it blow up in the wind, at least some air can get out and help with ventilation. And all I'm going to do is take this outer piece off. There's a mirror image on the inside, and I'll show you that once we've got the sheet off. But first of all, we've got to free up the sheet so we can get it off. So it's just simply removing all the bolts I put in. I won't do a lock, it's making a row in it, but I'll get all this off and then we'll crack on from there. Okay, so that's all the outer bit taken off, and as you can see now the sheet is just flapping around, and inside you can see there's a mirror image of what we've just taken off. And once the sheet's back on and secured, I'll then just go around with one of these long retractable knives and cut out this area again. All right, so we'll do that at the end. Right, let's get to the other end. Okay, so now we're at the door end. This is a little bit more complicated, but it's the same principle as the other end. With the door, I made a mirror image of the door frame, one on the inside and one on the outside. And what we have to do is screw the inside in place up against the frame, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Then cover the tunnel, screw on the outer, then once that's done, we just cut around the door in order for it to open. All right, so pretty much the same as the other end, except because we got the door, we need to hold it in place. And I'll go inside now and show you exactly what I mean. Okay, now because the door is in two halves, inner and outer, while we take the outer off, we need to hold the inner in place. And all I did to do that, and I mean there is an actual playlist of how I did this. It's in the Out Sunny Tunnel playlist. So all we need to do is secure the door to the frame so the inner stays still while we take the outer off, if that makes sense. All right, so it's just simply temporarily, like I say, I won't do this a lot because it'll make a noise. Fit these in here. And I'll do one top and bottom just to hold the door in place. And then we can take the outer off. Okay, so that's now holding that door to the inner frame, and I'll do one at the bottom just to make it a little bit more secure. Then we'll go back outside. Okay, so now we've got the inner door frame secured to the main frame. We can now take the outer door off. All right, so we'll undo the hinges. The hinges can stay with the door, and we'll undo around so all of this comes off. All right, simple as that. Just undo these, undo the others that are holding it together. It's sort of a door sandwich, if you like. And then we'll take that off, and then we'll take the outer frame off. All right, hope this makes sense. See you in a minute. Right, so with the cover now off, you can see what I've done to make up the door frame and the inner door. So all I did was made up a frame, cut it to a bit of the shape of the tunnel, and just held it in place with that builder's band. And that's what I did all the way up through every hoop. Now the reason I had to do it on every hoop is because this one is 6 meters long. Now you may not have this issue with the smaller one because you wouldn't have the side loading of the wind, but what I found is these joints here, they were a weak point and they bent in, so I had to strengthen it out like that and up to that one, and I had to do that on every hoop just to stop it bending. And if you go up the top end, you can see here, same thing. I had a cut bit of wood and the builder's band wrapped around the hoop to hold it in place. And I just put some of this over the top to stop the sheet rubbing. But there again, this is pipe lagging and it's a bad idea because that is also degrading in the sun. And that's the vent at one end. Now, these uprights, they are just in the ground, which isn't ideal because water and being in the ground, they'll just rot. But I hadn't put this on a base. That was my fault. Way better to put it on a base. Right, I'll get the cover back on and secure it down, and then we'll refit all the outer panels for the door and this top end. Right, so I got the cover back on, and I've loosely just held it in place with some sand, and that's what I'll be using to backfill. Like I say, this isn't the way to do it. All right, one thing I will say, the cover is a piss poor fit. It really is. Just putting it on, yeah, and it's shaped, so there's no easy way to really tighten it. That may be because my frame had got a bit bent in the storms it has suffered. I don't know, but yeah, it's not a good fit. So right, all we'll do now is put the outer boards back on and the outer part of the door, and then we can cut it out. We'll have a door, and at the moment I'm using a zip to get in and out, but once the door is done, we just zip up for the final time and we can use the door. So let's crack on. Right, so simple as that. This is bolted or screwed back on. The outer door frame is screwed back on, sandwiching the cover. And then all we got to do is cut around the door all the way. And once we've cut down this side, technically actually you probably haven't got to cut this bit because it'll just fold with the hinge, but hey ho. So cut all the way around in between. Like I say, there's people who've done a lot better job of this than me, but this is sort of an emergency repair because I had so much damage with it and I just needed the cover for a bit longer. So that's that. Just put the hinges back on, take the holding boards off the inside, and we'll have a door back. Right, moment of truth, see if this works. Now, if I was you, I would take a lot more time, do a lot neater job right from the beginning. But as you might be able to tell, I'm just over this thing. Over the time I've had it, it has caused me so much grief. I've spent so much time and extra money on timber and that to make it usable. It's my own fault, I know that. I should have done a better job putting it up and perhaps researched it more. But in my head it was just going to be a quick temporary thing while I built my other tunnel, and the way things turned out, I need to I need some space to, hey, here we go, look at the door. Well, at least that worked. I'll do the same up the other end, sandwich that up, chuck a load of sand around it, job done, and it will be back together with no rips in it for a day or two anyway. Right, I might do a little conclusion when I've calmed down a bit, because I'm a bit pissy, I must admit. Right, might see you in a minute. So that's the outer boards put back on the top end, and just like the bottom, you can cut out this bit. And we got our vent back. So I'll just go around now and sand down all around the edges, get it as tight as I can, and we'll have a little catch up inside. Beauty. Right, and so time for a quick conclusion. Simple really. In the beginning, put it up on a wooden base. 4x4 would be ideal, give you a nice firm base. And there again, you can see that in Ian and Emma's video that I'll link to. If you're putting the sheet on, it's pretty straightforward, even with the addition of the doors and the vent that I've got. Pretty straightforward. Try and get some help. 2 people, and would really make it a lot easier to pull it down and get it really tight as you possibly can. The less movement you can get with the sheet, the better it will last. From what I've seen, the older green sheets seem to last a lot longer than these newer clear ones. Some heat tape around the bars would be really good, better than the foam. I found, if you follow this one along, that joint there with the side loading, there again, this is a 6-meter tunnel, so there's a lot more area to get the wind. I'm in quite a open site, so you know, that's just the way it is and what I've got. Shelter around it would be good, and yeah, that's it for £42 that this cover cost me off Robert Dyer's. I've got it recovered again, and I can use this for storage until I've built my shed. All right, so that's it. That's the roundup. Hope somebody found it useful. There's a full playlist of this tunnel, so you can see my ups and downs along the way. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. Cheers and gone.